Hey everybody, welcome to Always Bored Never Boring and my series 10 paints or less, in which I attempt to paint things using 10 paints or less. And today I'm going to be doing probably my laziest paint job yet. I'm going to be showing you how to paint a gargoyle from the Castle Ravenloft board game. This process will actually work for anything made of stone really, so terrain, walls, statues, things like that. But anyway, this gargoyle is quite a nicely detailed miniature actually from Castle Ravenloft, and I have started by base coating it with Abaddon Black, and most of the painting will be done with a large dry brush. First of all, I'm going to get some ash grey. Any grey will do really, as long as you have a lighter grey for a bit later on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do what I call a wet brush, but other people call it over brushing. And that's where, rather than a dry brush where you wipe most of the paint off, you leave a lot of the paint on the brush, but you still whip the brush over the top of the miniature. So you'll see that I'm building up colour on the miniature, but the very deepest recesses of the miniature still remain with Abaddon Black right in the deepest recesses. So you get an uneven coat, but you're still highlighting those higher details. And I will go over the entire miniature like that. And when I am done, the miniature will actually look a little bit ghastly. But you can see, rather than having a smooth base coat, it's a more rough and ready result. And we're now going to put Agrax Earthshade over the entire miniature using a medium shade brush. Any shade brush will do, because you are going to slap Agrax Earthshade over the whole thing without being too fussy about it. It's really just to tie together the black recesses and the highlighted higher areas, to give it make it seem less mottled and tie the colours together a little bit, blend things together, whilst obviously also emphasising those details that are on the miniature. It works particularly well with this miniature because it's got some quite nice chunky details and some deep recesses. And when it is done, you will have that, which doesn't look quite as ghastly as it did before. And now what we're going to do is we are going to do a dry brush this time. We're going back to ash grey, or whatever grey you used to do the overbrush, the wet brush. And we're now dry brushing. So put some paint on the brush, wipe most of the paint off, and then flick the brush over the raised details of the miniature. And for this dry brush, you're pretty much going all over it. You don't want to do up under the undercuts, you don't want to do like under the chin and right in the chest and things like that. You want to leave those darker, but all of the raised areas, the wings, the arms, the face, and you will end up with something a little bit like that. And you could leave it at that and be done, and that will look quite nice. But we're going to go for another dry brush with Ulthuan Grey, and this dry brush is going to be a very targeted dry brush, where I'm going to do the tops and backs of the wings, the horns, the face with the teeth, the shoulders, the backs of the arms and the hands, and the raised knee. So literally just the very highest areas, the bits that would have the most light on them, but particularly around the face as well, just to draw focus, pull focus a little bit towards that face. But yeah, the canopy of the back of the wings will all get this dry brush, and it will just pick out those highest details. I say the lumpy bits on the shoulders, the horns, and you get that, and you see that the face is a little bit brighter, and it sort of pulls focus a little bit more. And you could call that done, but we're going to do a few more minor details. We're going to use some oak brown, and we're literally going to stipple that on around the bottom of the base, and that's just to break up, because I'm going to have a grey base, and then obviously the statue is grey. It's just sort of stipple on some dirt effect. And then we're going to paint the eyes. We're going to use a base coat of Mephiston Red. We're watering it down, and we're going to apply 2 coats. We're watering it down slightly so that it runs nicely. Trying to paint fine details like eyes with gloopy paint is not easy. You want paint that runs smoothly off the brush. So 2 coats of that, Mephiston Red, and you will get something like that. And then we're just going to make those a little bit brighter by using some Evil Sunz Scarlet, just to dot in and make those eyes just a little bit shinier and brighter, more vibrant, again to pull focus to the face. And you can see that as I'm painting the miniature, I'm bracing it against the table, because painting eyes is tricky. You need to have a steady hand, you need to take your time, and yeah, I don't have steady hands, so I always brace the miniature against the table, and then I will brace my hand against the table, and I will go very, very carefully. Luckily, the eyes are quite large on this particular miniature, so it's not as difficult as it is on some others. But anyway, that is that. That's basically the miniature done. All that needs to be done now is we need to paint the base in the same way we always do, which is Astrogranite, which is the texture paint, and then an Ulthuan Grey highlight over that, and then an Abaddon Black finish on the rim of the base. And that is that. A finished gargoyle in just a few minutes, really. You spend more time waiting for coats of paint and shades to dry than actually painting the miniature, and it looks pretty effective. And like I say, you can use this for gargoyles, you can use it for stone giants, golems, statues, walls, terrain elements, anything that's stone really. And I think it looks pretty decent for the amount of effort involved. But anyway, that is it. Nice and quick, nice and simple, but then that's what 10 paints or less is all about. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have any comments or queries, please leave them in the comments below. I do read everything and I'll do my best to get back to you. Thank you for watching, everyone. Bye bye.